Tom, how's the team? Looked like you came through okay the other night.
Yeah. Everyone's responded from the game very well. Obviously, we've got an extra day's recovery on QPR, which is always a positive. I think that it always seems to balance itself out over the course of a season. That sometimes you get a day shorter, sometimes a day longer. So, we've come through the game very well, and no new injury concerns, and possibly even a couple back.
A couple back might be centre halves.
No. So we're talking Jebison. Jebison will be available. Should be available. He's training tomorrow. Keben and Ogbonna continue to be out. And Ngakio's back and stays back. And Tom Delly's suffered a setback in his rehab. So that's the bad news from this week.
Jebison, he's just he had a niggle.
Yeah, he's had a couple of niggles. Yeah, that have just kept him out of training. So. He'll train tomorrow. I'm expecting him to get through that and be available for the weekend.
Yeah, okay. I suppose it's a case of whether you need to rotate or not, depending on how the players are from that Tuesday performance.
Yeah. I thought 3 changes on Tuesday was just the right balance to freshen things up. So we've got real strength in depth in most areas of our squad. So it might be a case of a couple of changes to keep it fresh and make sure that we see a more bubbly performance than we did first half Tuesday.
You've used Edo Kayembe a couple of times down the left-hand side. Do you like it, how that works out sometimes? Yeah,
he's a very two-footed player, actually. He's one of those players who you struggle to identify which is his stronger foot. So, yeah, he identifies as a right-footed player, but he's certainly both-footed, so gives us a good option down that left-hand side.
Just a word on a couple of the players, Porteous and Bachmann. They've had rough spells, but does that show you that sometimes form can dip in and out, but if you persist, they get through it in the end? Yeah, 2 very sort of experienced international footballers. We're talking about 2 real class players and leaders in the dressing room, and thought both of them were excellent on Tuesday evening, our away form defensive record has sort of painted a picture of us this season, but at home I think that's only 6 conceded in 14 games under me. So at home we've been very solid. With players, is that where you have to look long term rather than short term? Sometimes people can be critical of players, but actually they go through those little runs of form, and you have to persist with them.
100%. Yeah, we all work as hard as possible to be as consistent as possible, but I know more than anyone that you can go through. I went through a period in my career I didn't feel like I could pass it 10 yards. So confidence plays a big part. But yeah, both of those players have 100% of my belief.
You're obviously in great form at home and looking for that to continue. At half-time in the past, when things weren't going quite so well here at home, the crowd might have just slightly got on your back. But actually, the way you're playing, is that how it affects them now, that they'll stick with you? Yeah,
supporters have been fantastic. I think we always try and be the one to set the tone, but at key moments of this season, and they've really got behind us, and yeah, it was a flat first half in the week, but it didn't create any panic in the stadium. I think there's a sense of belief that we've all built together, and there was patience, and we got the job done in the end.
Right up there, aren't you? You've got a good few matches coming up now before Christmas. Is the idea to stay in there and then wait till January and see where you are?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we want to. Obviously, the old cliches come out now. We'll take each game as it comes, but we feel like we've done enough to be in that top 6 picture. And now it's about the areas of improvement, which I think we're all on board with. That if we unlock those, then I feel like we can look to kick on even further.
How are those discussions? Are you kind of saying, let's see where we are and then we can decide what we're going to do in January?
No, I'm in constant contact with Gianluca Scott and the owner, and yeah, we're trying to forward plan and see what areas of the pitch we're maybe thin in numbers, or we could bring a little bit more to our game. But I'm completely happy with the squad at the minute. I think we're all doing a good job, pulling in the right direction, and like everything else at the club, if we see an area we can improve, we'll try and do it.
Does that depend on
Jebson keeping fit, because striker might be one department that is perhaps a bit light.
Yeah, I think that applies for all areas. You know, with the Tom Daly setback might trigger something, or and that applies to all areas. You know, we've got 2 centre halves out, so let's see if we were to get a third centre half to be injured, then that could trigger something there. But no, it's a moving landscape at the minute. But again, I reiterate how happy I am with the squad we've put together.
I suppose the other one would be making sure you keep hold of Chakvetadze, who could be drawing interest from other clubs.
Yeah, but Giorgi's not the type that would lose focus. He's a fantastic professional. He does his job to the highest standard he can do, and lives his life right off the pitch. So I'm sure there will be interest in Giorgi, but I'm sure he'll stay focused.
Do you think the club would, if you were in the hunt, do you think they would stick with him?
Yeah, it's a question that Scott got asked at the fans forum, we try and run a budget where that means that we don't have to sell our best players in January. So I'm sure that'll be the case.
QPR, obviously fighting down at the bottom there. Good result last night. What do you expect from them?
Yeah, I expect a tough challenge. They had a fantastic away result yesterday, and it's a game that, like all the others, will pose a threat and a set of challenges that we have to be absolutely on our A game to get the right result.
Bit of a surprise they're down there. They can play some good football at times, QPR.
Yeah, they like to play a certain way, and that's playing short passes and progressing up the pitch through possession and taking some risk. The manager came in last season and did a fantastic job to get them from where they were to comfortably staying in the league. And they've not quite kicked on this season, but we saw last night they can be a dangerous team. Thanks.
The other night you played Ebersoli on the left and you had 2 left-foots on the bench. Is that because you want to have that sort of inverted wing back, or is that because the other 2 need a break?
No, I think the other evening, I think when you're playing, so when it looks like it can be a man v man game down the outsides, I like the physical profile of Ryan Andrews and Festi. I think they can really physically dominate their opponents, and we've got real good options in that area of the pitch. Friday night, Yasser has a tremendous game, and the reason I brought Yasser out is sometimes he's not managed to back up that Saturday or Friday or Saturday performance with the performance on the Tuesday. That was showed by his performance at Swansea was a bit under par. So I just thought we get the best out of Yasser when it's Saturday. So Festi did a solid job, and I've got great options to pick from now. Jeremy's back as well.
I know you've talked about Bar being need to be managed. Does that mean that there's going to be games where he won't start, or that he might be out altogether?
Yeah, and I mentioned it a few weeks ago. The expectation for KB is growing and growing, and from the staff as well. And we need to know that not every game can he score, assist, have huge impacts in and create huge moments for us. Tuesday was one of his more quieter performances. Whether that was because he played a lot of minutes Friday, that we'll sort of get there by trial and error, but it's important to know that we can't expect huge things from KB every game. He is going to have quieter nights, but he's a hugely impactful player for us.
I know we touched on it a little bit the other night with Bristol City, but when players like Giorgi or KB have stopped because the other team man-marked them, or because the other team are just good, is it unfair sometimes at stands to think they've had a bad game rather than they've been stopped by the opponents?
Yeah, I think absolutely. You know, the first names that come to a lot of people's lips when I speak to sort of opposition managers and match winners, but we have a real good spread of goals this year. With I think Incy's got 5, Edo's got 5 or 6, Bayo's got 7. So you can stop those 2 players, but we have big threats in other areas. I think those 3 players alone that I just mentioned have got nearly 20 goals between them this season. So yes, we have real 2 gems in Giorgi and KB, but we have threats from other parts of the pitch as well.
We've had teams, say like Bristol City, who've come and played and had a go, and we've had others who've come and sat really deep. What do you think suits us best as a home team? Good question,
really good question. It's a tough one to answer, actually. It's both have got pros and cons. I think when we show personality on the ball, it helps us when a team comes out. Because when we're having a good night, we can play through lines and hurt teams and get sort of man v man on the top line. But also, like we saw against Derby, we had the patience and sort of we ground Derby down and won the game that way. So I couldn't give you a straight answer on that one. I think we've faced both this year and been successful against both this year. So we know we're going to have to be on our A game, but probably better than we were first half on Tuesday to win this football match, and we'll work towards that.
Glad this one to the end. Batter, I know he was not available. Is he available in this week?
Available, yeah. He missed Tuesday for personal reasons. So yeah, he's the other one I was talking about when a couple returning. It's Batter and hopefully Jefferson.